new light. And here's our pal Peter Gammons with a great picture of Yogi and Ted Williams. Remember, Yogi caught a no-hitter against the Red Sox in 51 with Ali Reynolds, and he dropped the foul ball that Williams, I think, hit in foul territory for an error. And then he caught the next one. Williams popped another one up. So Yogi would have felt like a heel when Williams made out. Mr. Gammons, how are you today, pal? Okay?
I'm doing really well. I mean, Yogi was just... He was like everybody's friend in baseball. I mean, the year that I was fortunate enough to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, at the party the night before, I had a whole bunch of family, friends, all around. He's signing autographs, taking pictures of all of them for like 35 minutes. I mean, it's just the way he was. He was so genuine. I think that's the word that really applies to him, as opposed to an awful lot of big-name athletes, recognizable stars, who are brands.
Excellent point. And I tell you, he's underrated as a player, Peter. He really is. I mean, you and I know because we do this, but, three-time MVP, could have won another one in 1950, a good World Series hitter, in the World Series every year, an underrated defensive catcher, played forever. I mean, he's overwhelmed by DiMaggio the first go and then Mantle later on. So he's never the best player on his team, but he's underrated as a baseball player. You know that?
Absolutely. I remember talking to Ted Williams at length about him, Ted was fascinated by his instincts behind the plate. I mean, today he would have 73 pages of material before a game. Didn't matter. Yogi didn't need any pages of material of scouting reports. And the other thing that Ted marveled at was that his incredible hand-eye coordination and his understanding of what opposing pitchers tried to do to him. I mean, the strikeouts, 22 strikeouts a year for 19 years, that was his average. Played 75 World Series games and had 17 strikeouts. I mean, that is because he was always being pitched to by the other league's best pitching staff. And that's amazing.
Yeah, and think about it, too. He hit the pop-up that Ambrose caught down the left field line there in 55 in Game 7 against Padres. So even when he lost, he was in the mix. He hit that ball down the left field line, and he would have won the game.
Absolutely.
Now, absolutely. Okay, so the great... Now, let's do for a second the Yankees currently right now. That was a gutty, gritty win for them last night. They won't go away. They were dead in the water there 10 days ago. They've hung in there pretty well. I think they've given the Blue Jays something to think about, whether they catch him or not. They will be a factor here the rest of the way and in the postseason. How about the Yankees right now, Pete? What do you see?
I agree with you entirely, especially with their bullpen. That's it. I think what's fascinating, I mean, Toronto's had the best record in the league since they made the Tulowitzki and Price deals, granted, and they are very good. But, I mean, they still are very young, too. Stroman, this is the biggest game he's ever pitched in his life. He's only started 2 games this year. I agree with you about the back end of the bullpen. They're both rookies. I mean, there are issues there. And what I think is really interesting, Brian Cashman took a lot of heat for not trading Bird, Severino to get a veteran pitcher. Well, they weren't going to get David Price anyway. No one that went out on the market has pitched as well as Severino. 8 out of his 9 starts, he's gotten them into the 7th inning. That's pretty good. And Bird, 34 games, 10 home runs. He's at 27 balls, 100 miles an hour or harder. I mean, wow. He's been a tremendous addition to that team. And I think what you're seeing here is at the end of this year, you're seeing the changeover where the Yankees and Red Sox used to go out and buy whatever was the most expensive thing on Fifth Avenue. Now, they're both going, okay, we're going to go with our young players. I think the Yankees have been very successful at it. Severino's been terrific, and obviously Bird has. The Red Sox, I mean, they have scored the most runs in the American League since the middle of the year. They actually have the best earned run average of any staff in the American League East in September. Bogarts, I love this stat, so I had to throw it at you, dog. I thought you loved this.
Oh, I love him. He's a good player. Yeah.
325. Do you know how, I mean, the only players at age 22 in the last 75 years who have hit 320 are Ted Williams, Al Kaline, Paul Molitor, Junior Griffey, Mike Trout, and who am I missing? Alex Rodriguez. And so Bogarts could do what those have. That's pretty cool. But it shows you how different. But also remember, the Blue Jays are on a pace right now to win 92 games. That's the fewest wins by an American League East champion would be since the Yankees won 87 in 2000.
And they won a World Series that year. We're going to see how the Blue Jays respond. I'd be a little worried about the Blue Jays right now. I think they feel they left the Yankees for dead at that doubleheader at Yankee Stadium a week ago Saturday. Here is now they're sitting there and they're still in a tricky spot. I'd be a little concerned if I'm a Toronto fan. Houston and the Angels, Pete, are second on those two teams. That's a big game today on our network later on. What's your take on the Angels' chances here to win this afternoon's game?
I think they could still come back and win it. I think it's a little bit tough playing where they're playing. Houston is so good at home, but I still think this thing is going to scramble down to the last days of the season. I mean, Houston's has another series with Texas, and there's the Texas and the Angels play, and the Houston was played very badly on the road, has to go out on the road for 2 series the last week of the season, including ending up in Arizona.
Right.
I don't care. Arizona's a dangerous team.
Oh, very day. Houston's going to have a tough time on that road trip. I completely agree, 100%. Now, the Angels go to Texas, so that won't be easy either. That last series of the year, but you're 1,000% right. Angels still have their work cut out for them. Pete, always a pleasure. Thanks so much today. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, dog.